Hey guys, so Notion's really surging in popularity right now because of the API that just got released last week. I actually want to take a little break from that and talk about Notion and the desktop app versus the browser version. I'm a really big advocate of using the browser version instead of the desktop app when you're on a computer. And in this video, I'm going to show you how I use Notion in the browser to maximize my efficiency. And I'm also going to show you some quick ways that you can integrate these tips into your own workflow. So let's dive in. All right, so the first really big benefit you get from using Notion in the browser is just the built-in bookmark functionality that all modern browsers come with. So obviously, just normally in Notion, you have this ability to search for stuff, but this takes it a bit further because, for one, you don't have to search for things. You can just have them in your toolbar here and just quickly open them. And these don't have to take up a lot of space either. One thing that you can see I've done is actually removed the text on the bookmarks, so it's just the icon showing up. I can recognize them easy enough to where I can just click on the icon and know where I'm going. And it also makes it really easy to create new bookmarks. So here, this is actually something I'll do every day for just kind of my daily tracker, is grab the URL right here once I've created it for the day and just drag it right in at the beginning. So that way I can just, keep going here throughout my day anytime I need to check in. Like I mentioned earlier, it's really easy to hide the text. I won't do this normally for my days, but just to show you kind of how that's done, you just go in here, remove the name, hit save. And this just makes it easy to quickly jump between a lot of different places as you're going through your daily tasks. The other big advantage of using Notion in combination with your browser bookmarks is that it lets you open multiple areas at once. So normally, one of the main disadvantages people often cite with Notion compared to some other similar tools is you can't do split screen views and stuff like that. Well, it's really easy to when you're using it in the browser. I actually have just kind of a built-in bookmark section here for my daily classes where I can go through and open them all at once. It'll automatically take me to the Udemy page. So here I'm taking one of Stephen Greider's Docker classes, really great instructor if you're ever looking for some good programming courses. And then I also have my notes for each class so that as I'm going through each one for the day, I can quickly just toggle between the class, any notes that I want to add, and then when I'm done, I can just quickly close them all. The other big advantage to using Notion in the browser are extensions. So one thing you may have noticed is that I don't have my breadcrumb here at the top. I've actually done that through Stylus, which is an extension you can get in Chrome, similar stuff you can get in Firefox. And what I've basically done here is gone and hid the breadcrumbs so that it only shows when I mouse over that top here. Just something I like doing for kind of a more focused, more minimalistic view. And the cool thing about this is even if you're not somebody who knows like CSS, you can still search for styles other people have generated for the URL you're looking at. So like here's an example. I found one where somebody, has modified the table heading to be a different color. Lots of stuff like that you can kind of explore and just kind of use what you think looks good, what adds functionality that you like. But that's a really powerful extension, not just for Notion, but for any sites that you visit on a regular basis that you might want to change the appearance just a little bit. There's actually going to be a video coming up where I take a bigger dive into Stylus. I'll show you some of the specific styles that I'm using and how to easily kind of write your own too, if that's something you're interested in. So go ahead and subscribe if that's something you'd like to get notified about. Moving on to the next extension here. Again, this is one I use on pretty much every site I visit. It's called Dark Reader, and it's this little Vader icon you see up here in my toolbar. This is cool because you can toggle it on and off for specific sites, or you can just have it apply to all the sites you visit. So it's cool that you have that level of specificity. Obviously, there's already a dark mode in Notion, but what I like about this extension is it gives you a little bit more control over the actual appearance. So this is the default Notion dark mode. You can see in kind of the version I use, it's a little darker, the contrast is up a little bit. And also there's just a little bit of a warming effect. Now you can turn this, way up higher than most of you would probably ever want. But it's cool that you have that level of customization. I like to keep a little bit of warmth in there to keep it easier on the eyes. You can, adjust the contrast as much as you need to make things right for you. But that's another one I recommend, both for Notion and just for browsing in general. Now, the first two extensions I talked about are pretty common. This one's probably not very well known, but it's really useful for power users in general, but also specifically for Notion. So one of the things that I wish Notion would just have as a built-in feature is that when you have these tables here like this that have several links in them, if you're using Notion to store bookmarks that you don't visit very often, which is something I actually recommend you do, and I'm going to be doing a video on that later, one of the things you'll probably have noticed is there's no way to open multiple links at once. So you can obviously, open individual links, but if you want to open multiple ones at once, there's no option. So a very easy way to get around this is just to highlight that link column, hit copy on your keyboard, and then I have this extension here. It's just called Open Multiple URLs, and I'll have the links to all these extensions in the description. Just paste it into a text area, hit open, and you can see it's just gone and opened those all at once. So that's pretty nice too. This next extension will be a quick one. It's actually something I'm a little bit surprised that Chrome doesn't have just built into the browser. But it's a new tab replacer, so that when you open a new tab, it'll automatically take you to a Notion page of your choosing. So that's just a small one, but obviously very useful if you have like a command center or some sort of like main dashboard that you keep going back to over and over throughout your day. Or maybe you just want a simple page that has the thing you're focused on. And so that way, if you go to open a new tab, you kind of have that focus sitting there for you to kind of keep you from getting distracted. So lots of cool things you can do with that one. This next extension brings some Coda-like functionality into Notion. Again, it's something I really wish the Notion team would just integrate themselves. But it's called Notion Boost, and I really only use one of the features in it. It's this show outline one. And basically it puts this kind of sticky outline on the right there, which is really great if you're using Notion to write like documentation, or in general, just have really long documents, much better than the built-in table of contents because it's always there with you. And the extension has lots of other cool things you can play around with too. Like you can automatically set all pages to full width. You can add a scroll to top button, just lots of little things you can play around with there. So definitely recommend checking out that one as well. And this last extension I'm showing just a demo video because it's a lot easier to see the functionality of the extension. Basically, it creates kind of a catalog of all the highlights you make on a Notion page, which makes it really easy not just to jump around different sections of the page, but also to export all of the highlights like it's showing here. And it lets you include any comments you've made on your highlights too, which is obviously just super useful. So definitely recommend checking out that one as well. That's all for today, but I'm going to be putting out a lot more Notion content over the next few days, so be sure to subscribe. If this video was helpful to you, I'd really appreciate it if you clicked the like button. Thanks, catch you next time.